Now, that being said, it's time to get into our first match of the day. I want to get some energy in the room. It's going to be the United Kingdom going up against Sweden in our first match of the day. And what's interesting about these two teams, and James, this is for you here, buddy, because everyone's counting the UK short, and this team dominated in Santa Monica.
They're one of 3 teams that throughout the World Cup stops at every qualifier that had a perfect 12-0 record. And so they do feel like they are the underdogs here just because they're not able to play into that 2-2-2 dive meta that we got to see so prominently.
Why are people doubting the UK in this match?
Well, I think coming in, they showed that they were very proficient on a dive style, but we're on the Mercy patch right now. Resurrection has been changed. The game at the professional level has changed dramatically, so we need to see more versatility from them. But that said, you can't discount the fact that they were so incredibly dominant. They shut out everybody they played against. So if they have figured that out, if they have figured out how to play this patch and a new style, they will be a threat.
And there you have it, walking to the stage. It's the United Kingdom as they make their way out, get set up, get ready to go. This roster, lots of weapons on this team. Christopher, Mikey A, a guy I'm definitely going to be looking out for. Cruz, RealsX, Boombox, and Smex. Boombox recently just announced that he will be joining the Overwatch League for the Philadelphia Fusion.
But he's the only player on the Overwatch League on this roster, and we compare that to Sweden, who has all 6 of their players in the Overwatch League. These UK guys have a lot to prove here. They want to show that they are the same caliber. They are hoping for their futures in the professional scene as well.
That's right. Now, James, on the Swedish side, though, we heard it in the package. Malik saying godlike precision from a player like Tvik. And Tvik has been really the story here, but there has been some other changes as well. They made some mix-ups coming into this event.
Yeah, so we saw on the Misfits roster that they did actually swap off Swoosh, coming from that main DPS role that we saw him during the qualifiers, playing that Genji. Now he's playing the main take as the Winston, but a lot of people are seeing this as possibly a weakness on the side of Sweden, right? Is he going to be able to play the Reinhardt? But still, they're going to be able to rely upon Tvik, which is basically what that roster is supposed to do. Bringing in Snillo, bringing in Chipsayan, it's fine for them because that's the roles that they're used to playing, and they just fit in like a perfect puzzle piece.
Yeah, and they're certainly going to have to do that here. It will be a tough matchup against this United Kingdom roster, and while they have made some changes, well, they're looking to just bring success to the event. Guys, put your hands together as they make their way to the stage. It's Team Sweden. Monty, I want to get your thoughts on this team here. A lot of great players.
Yeah, but they didn't have the easiest time. We thought that Sweden would do even better. Yes, they qualified here out of Sydney for BlizzCon, but it wasn't the cleanest look from them, right? And they've made some changes as a result, and bringing in Snillo, I think, frees up Tvik to be that Swiss Army knife multi-hero player instead of sticking him directly on the Tracer. Snillo, the young 17-year-old Tracer specialist, prodigy player who will be playing with the Fusion in the Overwatch League this year. So this is what they need to show us today, is that they have the synergy that they lacked. They really struggled with ult management when they played in Sydney. They struggled with engages and coordination issues. So on an individual level, we know these guys are fantastic, but the teamwork wasn't there. However, I do know that they immediately after the Contenders playoffs went back to Sweden and started practicing. Yeah. So they are taking this extremely seriously.
Yeah, that was actually a big takeaway for me as well, because Contenders playoffs was a very big event, and most teams would typically want to just unwind after that. I mean, the entirety of Contenders was such a long, grueling war for a lot of these guys. So to come back into this and readjust themselves, can you see Sweden? I guess we might as well go into that and get some keys to victory here, some predictions as well. Can you see Sweden coming out on top?
Oh, definitely at this point. Sweden, like Monty had mentioned, they've been practicing for the last 3-4 weeks. They've been practicing as the 4 core for a really long time now. They are familiar with each other. But on the other hand, we have the United Kingdom. They've only been able to practice for about a week and a half now because, well, they've had other commitments because they also want to get to the OWL. And so we'll see how that actually works out. But I do give the upper hand to Sweden here.
What about for you, Monty?
I do at least have to give it to Sweden as well, because even though I have some question marks, when we've seen these Misfits now, the Florida Mayhem players perform in LAN environments, they haven't lived up to their online performances, so that makes me a little bit worried. And I know that UK is fully confident in their ability to compete in this kind of arena environment, but I think they're going to have ironed out their engages, they're going to have have ironed out their coordination. And I need to see UK do something besides Tracer, Genji, dive, because that is not going to be the strongest strategy at this patch any longer.
Yeah, a lot has changed since Santa Monica. Not only has the game changed, but also the way we spectate the game has changed. And I know everyone is eagerly anticipating before we get into our first match of the day. Guys, are you ready? That's what I like to hear. Let's send it over to your commentators. Let's have some fun for this UK-Sweden matchup. It's CP and Hexagrams.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. It has been a long journey here, Hex, but finally, we are here at BlizzCon 2017. The quarterfinals are upon us. The undefeated United Kingdom taking on Sweden.
I could not be more excited for this match. It's really a clash of styles and personalities. We sat down with Sweden, calm, cool, collected. They had an idea of tactics, a quiet confidence. Whereas the best way to describe United Kingdom's hilarious hubris. And they're just really confident in themselves, have a lot to say about every other team, and why shouldn't they? 15-0.
They are easily one of the most fun teams that we have dealt with in Overwatch, where even though they didn't quite get as much time to prep as they would like, and it's new meta, they don't have any doubts here, Hex. They came in very confident.
I don't think they know what the word doubt means. They really believe that they are the better team of these two teams. They feel they're going to walk probably to the finals, and then in the finals they say, hey, we've already won if we got to the finals. So I think this team is riding high on that confidence, and that momentum could work really well. On the other side of things, the Sweden team has teams that have not performed all the greatest at LAN, so they need to get over those nerves. I think it's more important for Sweden to come out to a stronger start.
I absolutely agree. And Sweden, don't forget, this is a team that has a lot of expectations on it. Most of these players are also in the Overwatch League. In fact, all of them, I believe. So this is a case where they have absolutely prime talent, but they have hit some bumps in live environments, and this would be a great opportunity for them to come out and really give the fans what they want.
Yeah, UK, we like to use the term house money a lot. And you really do get the feeling talking to these guys that they are playing with house money. They know that maybe Overwatch League is not on the cards for them this year, so they want to perform on the biggest of stages here. But these guys, I saw it in the group stages, they are having more fun than any human being I've ever seen have fun. Like, BlizzCon is their Disneyland, appropriately enough.
Well, we're pretty close to that. There's no doubt about that. So, first map here, Hex, that we're going to be moving into is Oasis. And what does that mean for the matchup here between the two teams? What do you expect to see?
I've got one word for you.
All right.
Pharah. There's going to be a lot of Pharah. Oasis is a map that has always tailored itself to Pharah play in the skies. And as Monty mentioned, we are firmly in the Mercy patch. The Mercy meta is upon us. And even before the changes came to her hero, you saw a lot of Pharah and Mercy combinations in the sky of Oasis. Oasis to me is about closing out fights because these points are wide open. You need to fully kill a team to be able to take control back.
And the key thing here for the UK is that they do have two very good Pharah players, where one you would have to look at here, even though he didn't play it much in the group stages, would be Mikey A, where we got a chance to talk with Mikey, and we don't know if we're going to see him on quite as much Tracer coming in here, because this meta doesn't dictate that you always run it, where we might see him here on the Pharah as we go into Oasis. We could see him on a McCree later on, where you just see that more now that Mercy is a much more dominant force.
Mikey A is one of the people, especially group stages, that I feel surprise some people, because he levels up when you get to these live environments. When he's playing at the kind of zero ping level, his gameplay goes to an absolutely different level. I would also like to look at Cruz, someone who can play the Pharah if they so choose. He will be running a lot of different things, but he was mostly a terror on Genji. The meta's not so forgiving for Genji because dive not only does it not work as well, but dying out of position is something you and I focus a lot on. That you can die in this meta, and it's fine because you get rezzed up, but you can't die in the back line because your Mercy's in a bad spot.
It is not if you die, it's where you die. Yes. And that's going to be critical here as we watch this first matchup, where you don't want to die in a position where your Mercy has to put herself in danger to bring you back up. You always want to make sure that you get back a bit, let the Mercy bring you back into the fight, and then swap the momentum back in your favor.
It's a lot about the Mercy's decision-making at that point, too. You kind of have the idea of no man left behind, but at some point, leave them. They're in too far. I can't help them anymore.
So we are heading here into the first map, and guys, we have a treat for you here today. It was teased a little bit on social media, but we have brand new spectator features to watch here where both teams here will be wearing their team colors, and you get to see it here live as we head into Oasis. 2 seconds left here, Hex. The gates are opening. What are we seeing?
We got home and away. Home team is going to be the blue colors. That is Sweden on the left side of your screen. United Kingdom wearing the away whites. And this is kind of the compositions we're going to look at. Also, United Kingdom told us they think Smex is the best Roadhog on the planet, and he's going to be coming out on that hog.
For Smex to return to the form, where you think about his history in Overwatch, he used to play the hero quite a bit. Roadhog was out of it for a while, but Roadhog is best friends with Mercy. You wouldn't think that they'd be best friends, but they are.
Well, I mean, all that healing in the world, and Roadhog is now a main tank. With all these changes, we talk about Mercy, but Roadhog's take a breather now allows him to frontline so much more effectively, and they're definitely going with the more frontline style with Christopher on the Reinhardt as well. Other side of things, we've got a Junkrat sighting. First pick onto Snillo.
Snillo just a step too far out here, and now take a look at the United Kingdom. They're camping on Snillow's body to try and deal with Chips. Chips, though, gonna get back up, get out of fire here, and now both teams engage in a bit of a back and forth. And Mikey takes down Snillo again. They're focusing Snillo repeatedly, and this time he's not coming back up.
Mikey will also fall, but they have the resurrection in their pocket, so he's back to life. A small advantage now for the side of United Kingdom as Snillo stepped a little out of bounds too often. You see now their positioning has to pull back as the big bodies of United Kingdom get on the point. Snillo is a young man. His father is here with him as well, so maybe a little bit of nerves to start off with, looking for a little bit of performance on his next life.
All right, and now you see Sweden coming back in, just trying to poke and get an advantage here. With the UK, they're more than willing to hide behind Christopher's shield, but here comes the Tyrant to Vic. Ripping and moving, taking down 2 with that Riptire, and that is going to open the way here for Sweden.
It absolutely should be enough. An interesting call as Reels will pop his Valkyrie, brings back both those 2 the Tire brought down. Mikey continues to be a terror on his own. Here comes a Tire from the other side of things as Zebo falls. Chips still 8% away from his own Valkyrie, so this fight in United Kingdom's favor.
And you have Boombox using Transcendence here, dealing with quite a bit of this Graviton from Maniton. Maniton, though, low, highly charged up, trying to microwave Smex down, but he's very tanky. Finally, he falls, and now we see Sweden getting a crucial advantage here on this point, and they do retake it.
It's crucial in a multitude of ways because United Kingdom went all in on that with their ultimates. They used DPS ults, but most importantly, they used the Valkyrie ult from the Mercy, allowing them to resurrect 2. As you see, Chips still holding that in his pocket. And when I talk about calm, cool, and collected, is there any better mascot for that than Chips?
No, there isn't. He's always the guy in the back making sure the teammates don't die. He is one of the best supports in the game. But now the early hook gets Maniton out of position. And now watch Smex as he's going to try and deny that resurrection. The team has to dive in it, and he takes down Chips. He punished Chips for that resurrection, and the United Kingdom now pushing their way in.
It is so important to be able to kill a Mercy. And it's one thing to say, everyone focus the Mercy. A lot of these teams are just ignored. They say she's unkillable at certain points in the game, especially when her ultimate's up. Chips, importantly again, we're going to talk about Mercy's ult a lot. Used his ultimate during that Resurrect 1, but now Reels with an amazing advantage at 80%, 20% away from being able to resurrect 2 people in the next fight.
One thing that's crazy here, they have the Riptire and the Graviton at the ready. Tvik using the lower ground here. Surprise! It's a Tire and you're blown right up. Maniton piling on, throws in the grab. Sweden on the assault, and it's huge. The Big Bang combo gonna clear the way. Explosives for days, and Sweden should be able to retake this point.
Reels fell during that fight. They will be able to take this point back. We'll see where the ticker stops. 74% as United Kingdom is banking on that next giant ultimate. They've got both support ultimates up. Support ultimates are what win fights for them. So they could be going all in on this next fight to try to bring it back for this team, as that Valkyrie is going to be also important.
Very even right now between both teams. UK still working with a bit of an edge. They have the Transcendence up here for this next fight, or they will in just a second, but no, Boombox under pressure here early on. Gets the Transcendence up though. Now we'll see if he uses it as Smex just clears the way with this whole hog.
It's really smart to be holding the Transcend for now too, because they did use Valkyrie, brought 2 back up. Sweden playing it a little bit slow, knowing now they're on even ground. Valkyrie of their own came out as well. Now teams just jockeying back and forth, still holding that Transcendence, but no team with a great advantage just yet.
Christopher needs to stay off the streets because he keeps getting run over by Tvik. Every Tire heading for him here. They get rid of the control that UK was going for. However, late grab here from the United Kingdom on them, and no! Snillo with the follow through, going to take them out. Excellent play between Maniton and Snillo. Let Sweden keep control. Only 8% left here, Hex.
So Snillo will get the glory in the kill feed, but that is Maniton's right there, as he's able to grab both supports inside of that, which is so important. You see now United K is going to scramble, taking the Reels off of the Mercy, putting him on Lucio just to get back to this point in the overtime.
All right, well, we have the late tac visor here from Cruz, looking for anything. As United Kingdom, they must stay on the point. It's Sebo from downtown, erases Mikey A early on in this fight. However, United Kingdom still moving back in, looking for anything, even as they get mowed over by the Swedish team.
Well, they're just now desperation mode, trying to get back to the point. They will not. And early on, I just want to give Snillo props for calming down right away, because to be the first 2 deaths of your team is kind of new to Overwatch, to die once, then die immediately again, and that can shake someone. Like I said, he's a young man, just got signs, good for him. They really brought it back there towards the end. Stayed alive. He stayed closer to his supports toward the end.
Heck, what it comes down to, Snillo came to bargain. That's all it was. And in the end, Sweden, they came out on the better end of that bargain as they take the first round. However, we have another round yet to go, and that was the more closed-in version of
Smile Chips.
Of this.
Come on, smile, Chips. Chips never smiles.
He's very focused.
He's focused. Mercy main, by the way.
Yeah.
This is the only thing he said in our meeting. Chips, anything to add? I'm a Mercy main, by the way.
Chips, he'll get reunited with Ana someday.
He's been one of the best supports in the game for 2 years, so you know exactly what you're going to get out of him. No Pharah so yet. That will probably be saved for the next stage if we even get there.
All right, well, we are here in the city center, the most wide open of stages. No Pharah in play, as we might have thought to have seen here, but we do have Cruz on his trademark Genji. Manitin punishes Christopher early on. This is going to hurt the UK. They rely on Christopher for not only control, but calls. This is tough.
Well, it's going to hurt UK because they are done with the Mercy meta. They're running full dive right now. Reals is staying on that Lucio. This is the most traditional style of dive composition that you will see. Of course, very aggressive, gets to the back lines and relies on getting those kills. So far, they're able to pick up a couple. We'll see if Chips chooses to res anyone out of this. Right now, the dive is working. They flipped it around a little bit.
They're getting right back in, and the thing is, too, they're about to have both Barrier and Transcendence up, so they say, you know what, the meta might be Mercy, but we don't need it if we're just going to rush right into you. We're going to play dive anyways. Don't tell us the meta has changed.
Well, speaking to them the other day, they said, well, we haven't really practiced that much. We've all been very busy. We'll figure it out. You know, as it goes, we're very good at adapting. We'll figure it out. We'll play whatever, and they just have the confidence that they can pull it off, and now they're sitting on a couple nice DPS ults.
They have a huge advantage right now. They have the Barrier Reserve, the Transcendence, the Blade. Cruz has so many ways to stay up here as he pulls out the Blade to potentially slash the other team the ribbons. And now here he goes to the back. The Blade is out, looking for Tavik. No razzle dazzle that time, just sliced right out of it. And the United Kingdom dives in with that Transcendence.
I'm not in love with the target selection to go for the DPS right there. I suppose it still does burn out ultimates from the Mercy at least, and that's what you want from your Dragon Blade. Getting kills is great. You want to make supports use ultimates with the Dragon Blade. Cruz did that effectively.
And the United Kingdom, more importantly, they get to keep control. A solid 50% to 0 right now. Boombox got picked off, and there's no res here, so he's not going to get res. Both supports are down. A massive opportunity for Sweden now. Svik goes, I'm just going to shoot everyone.
Yeah, this one is pretty much just over right there. With no resurrection up, no chance to bring that back, and United Kingdom did win that first fight, got a lot of use out of it, but they did burn through all their ultimates. The ultimate economy, as we so often like to refer to it, is definitely in Sweden's favor.
And it has to be. They have to make up for lost ground right now. The United Kingdom, they can lose the next 2 fights, and it would still be even. However, Mikey A, Pulse Bomb at the ready. Can be undone with the Resurrection, but he's very good at these early Pulse Bombs. As the UK, you take a look at their positioning right now. You see Mikey flanking around the side, the rest coming in from the front, and now Christopher goes in.
Well, they do dive onto Manitin. Manitin immediately brought back to life, but that's the target they wanted from Cruz as he takes down Chips.
And United Kingdom right now, this is what they need. As you said, they get Chips down early on. It's a bit of a brawl back and forth, but it's one that they have an edge in. And if they can keep doing well here, they're going to have Barrier and Blade up soon. So Tavik, he's not able to get the picks he needs here. And the UK immediately drops the Barrier to dive in deeper.
It's such a smart Barrier because not only does it allow Cruz to do what he just did and take down the 2 people after that, it buys them time to get Boombox back over here. They can stack a Transcend onto this if need be, but now they don't have to. They are able to hold their Blade in their pocket too. So United Kingdom, even though they're a scrappy team, smart with economic management, only using 1 ult where they could have actually used a couple.
What we're going to see here is going to be the showdown of Valkyrie versus Transcendence. The UK, they're not going to give Sweden much breathing room here. As soon as they see them, they're going to dive in. Chips, he's probably going to open this Valkyrie, and now here we go. Christopher dives in. Cruz with the Blade. The Blade is out. The Transcendence is in. Slicing, looking for anything, but Sweden mostly getting healed up. They res up the only casualty, and now they can push back into the UK.
Yeah, I think Tvik might owe Cruz money. He's just been going right after him every single time with that blade. He's been the primary target for that, but we know how Tvik can be a hard carry in Overwatch, which is somewhat rare. So going after Tvik makes a world of sense.
Hex, I owe you like $5. Please don't run after me with the kitchen knife. I apologize. I'll get it to you after the set.
You better.
Okay. Well then, 70% to 88% right now. United Kingdom, not with any support ults going into this next fight, but neither does Sweden have that up either here. So it's going to be more by the basics as you roll into this. And the United Kingdom, they've been good at shell-shocking Sweden in early fights.
Given how long fights go on Oasis in general, that this next fight could very possibly be the decider here. And it's going to be a lot on Mikey here because he's got the pulse bomb. It's going to be a tale of two pulse bombs. That one goes right to the ground. Mikey's out of it. Snillo just holding on.
Snillo holding on to Vic, able to get Mikey early on in Sweden. They just back out from this dive. The counter engage is very good from them here. They get the first 4 kills. It's clean, and we're in overtime. This can't happen for the United Kingdom right now. They're on the verge of losing map number 1.
They're going to lose this map number 1 in pretty short order. One of the good reasons to run a Mercy, even in a dive composition, is what you saw right there happen to Zen. Because if you dive on a Zen and you have a Mercy, she just holds the beam on, keeps him alive. Zen's getting isolated now in a composition without Mercy are just dead meat, as they've always been. But Mercy can actually work pretty well, even if you want to run a dive composition, if your supports are playing together.
Well, the other thing too, Zen is helped out by the idea that Mercy is generally the higher priority target. Why would you go for Amir Zenyatta when you can take out the Resurrection Machine? So Zenyatta sort of has some natural cover there too, where even though normally he'd be priority number 1 the dive, it's not quite as attractive as it used to be. All right, guys, we're throwing to a commercial. When we come back, map number 2 will be underway.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Cup 2017 quarterfinals in progress. United Kingdom versus Sweden. Hex, we're heading into map number 2. Those are the sounds of Numbani that we hear.
Numbani, always one of our favorite maps on a personal level because we call it the lab. Anyone can play anything on Numbani. You'll see all sorts of different heroes on it. A beautiful map. Both of these teams have the versatility to run nearly anything. What I'm questioning going forward is, are the UK going to continue to run traditional dive without a Mercy? I feel she's so strong right now. You're simply putting yourself behind by trying to run a Lucio.
It's going to be interesting for sure. I know that they mentioned that they don't think they need to run it in every situation, and also they just don't have as much experience with it. I understand why they would try it without it in Control, where sometimes you just be a little bit more divey, catch teams off guard. I do think it might be rather rough for them if they come out here on this attack without a Mercy, but Hex, that might be the case.
Well, Numbani first, especially on attack. I feel the fights go so long, and your reset takes so long to get back there. There are buses that have broke down on the way to the first point on this map, ZP. It's a long walk once you get wiped, so you would love to be able to extend the fights with your own Mercy, perhaps run something, a dive with a Mercy. It's totally possible.
Well, you take a look at this now, Hex. What is the win condition for the United Kingdom? Do they have to take down Chips early on?
Well, yeah, in an ideal world, yes, easier said than done. People have been trying to take down Chips early on for the last several years. No one's found a good way to do it.
Well, we'll see if they can succeed this time. United Kingdom splitting up, 3 flanking from the side, 3 coming up the front, and it's going to be Christopher.
Back out.
Oh, no, yeah, they lost Cruz immediately, and they can't undo mistakes here. They have to immediately back out.
Yeah, it's just without a Mercy, you can't go in and keep fighting like that, and it's an interesting style that they're still trying to run. They're going to half reset here, hang out behind aforementioned bus that broke down on the way to the point, and just going to have to wait for Cruz to get back here. That's a very easy first win for Sweden, already burning all that time off the clock.
The scary thing here for the United Kingdom is the idea that if they can't do some damage here, they're going to be dreadfully behind in ultimate economy. Mikey now flanking to the side, looking for that one-on-one on Snillo, but it's going to be difficult. Snillo can easily get out. The Chipso goes down early. That is the best pick they could have gotten. Here comes the United Kingdom.
Smex will give his life for it, but that is a trade you take every day of the week and twice on Sundays. They are going to still brawl it out, though not quite over yet. Boombox, one of the best brawlers on Zenyatta, will take down his would-be assassin in Snillo.
They completed their victory objective there. Get the Mercy. They chased down Chips. The flank was successful, and now they use the barrier to secure this out. I don't know if that was really necessary, but on Numbani, given that the defense is rather close, sometimes you gotta be sure.
Some teams would prefer us to call this a triple DPS composition, because how D.Va plays now is she is a giant assassin, and you saw it right there taking down Chips. He got to the high ground, which is why D.Va is always so important on Numbani offense, but then using the rockets, using the boost, using the shooting, just takes down Chips out of nowhere. That's the only kill they needed.
And now you look at the next fight. What do they have on deck here? Transcendence into Blade. And Cruz, don't tell him that he can't play Genji anymore. X, he's still running it here in this meta. The Blade is ready, and Swoosh goes down early. They might get to save some ults here.
Now Swoosh is back up, but now it's an even fight, 6v6, and the Mercy will not have Resurrection available just yet. Chips nearing his way to the Valkyrie, though. Here comes a Blade.
The Blade is out. Cruz does invest it here. The Transcendence is out. The United Kingdom using what they have to get through the second stage. Man, it's an out of the fight, but it's Swoosh making so much room with the Primal Rage. Lets Tvik just tear through with the Tactical Visor, and this fight, despite the invested resources from the United Kingdom, goes the way of Sweden.
It's not all that bad for UK, though, because they didn't burn anything. It wasn't a case of throwing good after bad in this scenario, because they got a couple of ults up still. They knew when this Tactical Visor came out that it was absolutely over, but they captured first point. They're going to be able to reset close by. The problem is, Chips has Valkyrie. That's 2 lives he can bring back.
And Chips, he's just going to hide in the back, use the higher skybox to his advantage. This is actually somewhat rough for the UK to get through. His Cruz under pressure does get Zebo, but the problem is Zebo can be brought back up here. Cruz cannot, and Sweden, they're just sitting pretty in the back as Chips, no, he goes down. The self-destruct's caught him, and now the United Kingdom can bring this back.
Smex has been the one who's been on the Chips duty, trying to get to the back line. Still very brawly, but the reset should be in favor of the offense here as the spawn's a little bit closer. Christopher trying to clean off the carts so they can get progress. Really nice play there. It's small and it goes unnoticed in the stat sheets from Manitin, just to buy them the time. So now that their defense can set up in a better position rather than having to play from behind here.
Sweden now working their way to the second point, or United Kingdom working their way to the second point. Sweden with one more chance to defend this, not a lot in the tank, but, oh, well, that hurts. Tvik goes down early on. That's going to use the Resurrection cooldown for Chips. There's still 6 here for Sweden, but oh, Chips goes down. United Kingdom just picking the back line of Sweden apart.
They've done a great job of doing so, and at a certain point in time, you have to think that maybe there's a swap coming from Sweden just to give Chips a bodyguard back there. You can't lose your Mercy like that. The opening kill, though, right away already makes them use a Resurrection. I think we should call an opening Zenyatta kill. We should just call it a boombox now. It's what he does.
I think it's accurate. I think we can name this after him for sure. And hey, you know, it's bringing back a term that we haven't heard since the early 90s, Hex. So let's feel young again.
Yeah, boombox is one of those things. It's like a giant Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
but heavier and cooler looking.
D-batteries.
That's right.
All right, so now we get into the really tough part of Numbani. It's very difficult for teams to get through here. We've seen long defenses, but Cruz says, I'm pulling out the blade anyways. Gets Zebo early on, but just gets knocked out by Swoosh. Might not matter though. Smex able to erase Snillo, and the pressure is still very much on here from the UK.
Yeah, they're still moving forward. I actually like how he's been using his Dragon Blades. It's been so free and easy that they've been impossible to predict. They're not really setting up the team around him. They're just saying, whenever you have Blade up, use it. We'll see what you get. And all they're really trying to do is bait out Resurrections and hopefully come out post-Resurrection even. That time, though, Tvik in good position in the back lines, able to clean up the mess.
Going to the next fight, Transcendence up here for Boombox, and there is a window here where the UK can just dive right in. They also have the barrier, and here we go. The Transcendence is out. The United Kingdom dives in. They lost Christopher early on, though. He wasn't in the Transcendence field, and that ruins the plan they were going for there, Hex.
It's not quite over yet. Of note, though, Sweden has gotten off of the Mercy chips and wants a little more self-defense as he's on the Zenyatta now. It's also when you're defending your own spawn on last, you're going to have resurrection or respawns rather close anyway. So a couple switch-ups there. Also interesting is that Manitin is on the Roadhog here. Roadhog definitely back in vogue, and he's also a good bodyguard. Will be able to protect those supports for any dives.
Hey, we talked with Manitin before this. He said he is very happy to get back onto Hog. It's his home ground, and oof, Mikey going down early, and we're in a merciless game right now. Those picks matter.
It is. It's looking merciless.
Well, United Kingdom, they have to back up, but look at what they have on deck for this next fight here, Hex. This has to be their window to get around this corner and push this in as Cruz dives in. Blade at the ready, gets hooked, still alive. The deflect comes up just in time. Backed up from Smex, but he goes down anyways.
You want a little more out of your barrier there, though. All it did was keep them alive. They are going to trade out 1-to-1 here, but now they've also burned out the Transcendence. United Kingdom does not have any more support ults, and Chips just holding Transcend in his back pocket. Probably won't even have to use it if they can secure the next few eliminations.
And that's really rough for the United Kingdom. That was not the engage they were looking for. That was absolutely their window. They're going to be down to the final minute 30 here, and who knows if they're going to be able to get that key barrier and Transcendence up again in time. Meanwhile, Sweden, they're in a very good position. They have a Transcendence up, they have positioning. They still can hold around this corner.
Yeah, being very aggressive too, and I really like it. There's a couple of late kills. That's going to slow down the next push. Of note is how that hook changed everything in that fight. They wanted to barrier and blade, but as soon as Cruz got hooked in, the barrier dissipated completely. They were unable to blade through that, so he's still holding it. The good thing for them is, though, despite using both support ults in the last fight, their supports have done enough that they're also loaded up with support ults again.
My goodness, that is incredible support play coming out from the United Kingdom. They will have this for this final push. They really prioritize their healing, and now here they go. The barrier going to open it up. Boombox with the Transcendence in reserve. Sweden, they have to back up a bit. Give this a little bit of respect. Tvik trying to focus down Christopher. He's going to back out just a moment. The barrier didn't really get the much. Oh my goodness! From downtown, both supports gone. Tvik, you are a madman.
You know, it's really good to be as skilled as Tvik. It's also good to be a little bit lucky sometimes, because that was a blind jump off the ledge rocket from a mile away from downtown as he eliminates both supports with a single helix. Last push incoming for United Kingdom.
Well, the United Kingdom, they are still loaded for bear. When they've needed big plays, it's come from Cruz, it's come from Christopher. They have what they need here, Hex, and now the United Kingdom moving their way forward. Boombox holding on to Transcendence. Cruz in the back, and now here we go. The Transcendence is out. Where is Cruz right now? Tvik says, I don't care. Brings out the tag visor, looking for anyone.
Found him.
Found him. Cruz in the back, under assault from both ends. Will be able to get free, but Boombox is out of the fight. Both supports are gone, and Sweden well on their way to holding here on the Numbani last.
It's so important how much they're focusing Tvik right now. There were two people going around the flank, two DPS. He was able to distract them both. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, everyone else just jumps in. So by the time the two DPS are done running away from Tvik, because why wouldn't you? He's got tactical visor up and he just nuked your support line. Everyone else is dead. It's all over. Tvik demands that attention and the rest of his team capitalized.
Tvik demands. That's just sort of the theme of this for me. But interestingly enough, when you look at this, is that I feel like it was small errors that did in the United Kingdom where they put themselves in very good situations to start out fights, but then when it came time to do the actual initiation, just something would go wrong. Like, you had the double kill Helix rocket, you had Cruz somewhat getting randomly picked off. it's just a case where we know they didn't have as much time to practice coming into this, and I think it's showing in some of these cases.
It's not necessarily their coordination, I think. I want to give a lot of credit to Team Sweden, but it does show that maybe Cruz is not used to playing a whole lot against the Roadhog lately as Genji, because that one hook ended what was supposed to be a great setup for them. Barrier Blade is a combo as old as time. You get all the protection in the world as Genji. You don't have to use your deflect, you can swipe through, but that hook completely nerfed that whole fight.
One thing that's worth noting here, though, is that teams hold on to Numbani last a lot. You could have an offense that was blazingly quick, easily getting through point A and point B, and then you hit the brick wall that is the point C area. So the United Kingdom, they are not out of this map by any stretch of the imagination. Holds on first happen quite a bit, but they could outdo what Sweden did.
Numbani last is really difficult, but I thought it really is about turning the corner on Numbani last. Once you get through the archway with the cover on it, you should be able to set up better offenses. It's trying to get through that archway that can be very difficult. Now we'll see, there's still definitely a chance here. Sweden is going to bring the Mercy back into the meta. Interesting enough to see a Mercy Lucio. Oftentimes we're seeing a lot of Mercy and Zen, but that's an interesting choice. Tvik on the Genji. You've described him as a unicorn, meaning that he can play absolutely everything, and those are rare.
They are very rare. That's why you don't see them very often. People like to say they're extinct, but Hex, I want to believe. All right, well, Sweden moving their way in right now. Not a whole lot subtly, just deep diving in, no respect, looking for early pickups in UK. UK, though, they're able to disengage here pretty well. You see that they're coming back under the archway, moving their way back in after a reset, and Christopher, oh no, immediately nuked down. They weren't able to give him the support they needed, and now Sweden working with quite a bit of an edge.
Yeah, Boombox getting pressured in the back line. Finally, he gets some help from Smex to try to keep him alive. Defensive Diva not as popular. This is a 2-on-1 that has to be won. Cruz is going to try to get out of there very quickly. Wall ride working for the moment.
Cruz just, get me off this crazy thing. Mercy's pistoling me. There's a Genji. Does not work out. Sweden, very quick take here of point A, and this is pretty difficult now for the UK. You don't see teams really buy too much time on point B historically. It's a hard point to consistently defend. So this means the path to victory for the UK would be a strong point C defense, but Cruz goes down. They're getting staggered left, right, and center.
This is beautiful aggression that absolutely has to happen. Sweden, since they won the prior fight, is also going to have a small window of advantage on these things. But Sweden, also on their defense, I thought getting very aggressive was so smart too. You saw a couple late kills last time. I'm a fan of just unfettered aggression, and this Sweden team is actually surprising me with how they're playing it. When they see or smell blood in the water, they are going after it.
All right, well, it's going to be a bit of an ultimate showdown going into this next phase. Both teams will head for Barons to be Tvik striking first. The blade is out. Boombox out of the fight, looking for more Cruz. That is not the corner you want to be in, and that's enough for Sweden. First 3 kills going their way, and it's all clean up from here.
It's going to be just about a team kill if they so want it, and this should be allow them to get around the bend. Chips will go down eventually, but he did use his res to bring up the other support, so they are not without healing. But it's going to be a little bit of trouble for Mike. He's got to get out of there. We'll get out of there with his life. United Kingdom, I don't think they're going to try to even contest this second point. It's best to just save some of your ults for what is going to be the last fight on third.
And at the very least for United Kingdom, this is a war chest if there ever was one. They have everything up, and they might use it here in second. And yeah, they are. They're going for it. Zebo going down immediately. They invested both the barrier in the beginning and the blade. Boombox had the transcend to save himself, but it should be enough. Or will it? Chips flying in the sky. The picks have been brought back up, and Sweden still very much in this fight. Now perhaps turning the tide. Boombox is going to fall, and Sweden might be getting point B after all.
Killing 2 people against a team with a Mercy with Valkyrie might as well be 0. It shows up in the kill feed, but that's about it. Bringing him right back is chips for everyone, and that's why I did not necessarily want to see them fight. They will use some ults from Sweden, so they equalize the economy, but they burned everything they had to the UK, and now they've got nothing going into their last defense. They don't even have to push it all the way to last CP.
No, they don't, and that was a case of target priority too. Cruz went for what he could go for, but he couldn't get the Mercy, and that's the one thing you gotta get. But now, that is not a yellow box of victory anymore. It is the box of victory for Sweden. It's the UK color, but now the fight is underway. Chips goes down early though, and this might let the UK hold, but they're still very much at a numbers disadvantage.
It's not if you die, it's where you die, and that's why you see a little bit of less Genji now. Tvik went in early on, he got picked off, and then Chips had to fly in to resurrect him. Despite all of that, it does not matter. It is all Sweden in the kill feed. They will take Numbani. They lead the series 2-0.
I think you brought up a very important point there towards the end, which is that UK invested a lot to get the point B, but that's never really a great area for defenders. Even if they thought they had an overwhelming advantage, it was still easier for that to go badly than if they had taken that fight in the underpass, where it's way more difficult to say, get out of the range of Cruz's blade.
I completely agree. There's just where you fight is so important in Overwatch, and when you fight, you also have to know what's even the benefit if you end up winning that fight there. So I think just a decision-making thing, and maybe part of the thing they haven't had a whole lot of time to practice. Maybe that's coming to bear.
All right, we're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, the desk is going to break down that first half.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Time for Sweden versus the United Kingdom. If you're just joining us here, folks, Sweden is up 2-0 over the UK, and I think, you know, for a lot of fans at home, they're not all that surprised given how talented the Swedish roster is. But UK have shown signs of brilliance at times as well. Before we get into the breakdown, though, got to introduce our guest joining us here. We have the one and only IDDQD, player for San Francisco Shock. Welcome to the desk. How you feeling?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, look at that.
And Resident Suite.
And
Resident Suite.
Committee, yeah, Resident Suite. That's right. We have to have that here. And thank you, Monty, for the clarification.
Yeah, no problem.
Gotcha. So that being said, though, let's just go ahead and jump into this here. Sweden is looking very strong, James, and coming into Oasis, I wanted to see what the UK could do to adjust, but Sweden, I mean, they were looking good.
The UK tried to make their adjustments, but we have to remember once again that the UK weren't able to really scrim as much as they wanted to and prepare for this. And we got to see how the Misfits 4 core worked together so well together, along with their addition in Snillo. As we go back to University there on Oasis, we get to see how Maniton, when he plays that Zarya, is just such a potent figure, especially up against Smex's Roadhog, who is doing a fantastic job. So when we get into this highlight, we'll get to see exactly how the Zarya counters it. So overhead, we see in the white that is going to be Team UK, and the blue that is, of course, Team Sweden now. Maniton, using the barriers, is able to just melt down that Roadhog, and a Graviton Surge comes in. Snillo follows up with a beautiful Pulse Bomb that gets a triple kill.
Ooh. And one thing that we all talked about while we were here in IDDQD, I want to get your thoughts on this. Snillo, a young player stepping into the world stage here. So many people watching him play, and I can only imagine for a young kid like that, he was a little nervous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think his life is being changed as we speak, like being picked up by Philadelphia as well, and then being able to play in the World Cup and showing what he got while he already had, but essentially showing up here as well. You could see a little bit of nerves at the beginning, but I think once he calmed down, he's really showing his colors.
Yeah, well, we also, the start of the game, he was picked off early on a couple times there, which gave me some pause. It's like, well, I was a little worried about him.
He was off by himself, and I turned to Andre here and I said, is Snillo nervous? Because we're not used to seeing him play like this. But by the end, as we saw in the replay, he was hitting at least the big bangs. The communication was clearly there, coming and following up, and he performed much better in the second map on Numbani. So it seemed like the nerves seemed to melt away a little bit the longer the match went on, but I do admit I was a little bit concerned. What does still have me concerned is how the UK is playing. We said, can they do a different composition? Are they going to run something besides 2-2-2 Genji Tracer dive? You know, we don't see them really using the Mercy, and as soon as they lose on University, their first inclination on City Center on Oasis is to switch back to that. And then they run it again for Numbani. And I'm really wondering if that was a panic reaction to go back to what was previously working for them, but it wasn't too inspiring overall.
Not surprising to see them go to that, to see Cruz go to the Genji. You know how comfortable he is on that hero. And furthermore, when you think about the amount of effort that they have to put in to get these picks, they're focusing chips a lot early on. And, you know, the Mercy right now, very prominent in the meta here, but to have to put that amount of effort in and then just get a res, or you just get exploited. The positioning of Sweden has been fantastic, and IDDQD, has it just been something that they were expecting going into this match against the UK?
Not necessarily, but obviously a first pick on chip sign happened on the first point, and that kind of, you know, give leverage to the second point as well. Chip sign is so fearsome in the back, and if you leave him alone, he's just going to keep the team alive, basically. His positioning is god tier. And it could also be seen on the last point, for example, as Sweden held UK on the very third point here. That fixed positioning was, in my opinion, the reason why they couldn't push it through. They were definitely playing with the Genji for too long. I felt like they should have stopped away from the Genji and kind of take the 1v1 duel, soldier battle. And I think the Genji actually held them back in terms of fixed positioning. It was really, really good.
Yeah, and coming into, we have this moment where it's the UK's final push coming in on their offensive run. Sweden is defending. So as we take a look at the positioning of Tvik on this replay that we have right here, you'll see he's very far back. He knows they have Transcendence, and he knows that they have the Dragon Blade available. So he doesn't give them an opportunity. If they want to kill the soldier with the tac visor up, the Genji has to be inside the Transcendence, and simply Zenyatta isn't able to close that gap fast enough. But we talked about how Sweden had some troubles keeping track of ultimate cooldowns. They knew exactly in that fight what was available to Team UK, and that's why they were playing so far back. That's why Tvik was stationed well behind the payload, because they knew they had one push and that the Transcendence had to move in, and so as long as you stay away from that, you can react with the tac visor and chase down their DPS afterwards, and there's virtually no chance that you're going to get killed by that Dragon Blade.
It's very clear, looking at this UK team play, that there are severe limitations on this roster, and they need to be able to find a way right here, right now, because this is it. It's a best of 5. If they lose this next game, that's it. It's curtains for them. They're out of the Overwatch World Cup, so they have to make it happen here. But guys, on a brighter note, let's go ahead and talk about the MVP conversation, because it's something that's going to continue to pop up throughout the show, and we want you guys to get involved yet again. It's very simple. You just go in the Twitch chat, you use the command with T-Mobile MVP. So exclamation mark T-Mobile MVP. It's a lot to say, so you got to give me a break here. You know, I said unlimited gaming break like 30 million times all across the country, or world. Here, so, you know, you got to give a brother a break right now. But in any case, though, yeah, so you use that there, you put the battle tag, and then for Twitter as well, use the hashtag T-Mobile MVP, and there you can vote by using the battle tag as well. I can imagine that some of these guys are going to get some pretty solid votes here. Guys like Tvik, for example, maybe even Chips being able to stay alive as best he possibly can.
I mean, Tvik really kept them alive. When Snilla was underperforming on Oasis, especially on that first point, it was Tvik's Junkrat tires that were really opening things up. So he's been incredibly solid so far in this first best of 5.
Yeah, and definitely with Tvik being able to really reach into his hero pool, we're seeing what he can do on other heroes. Primarily, we saw him on the Tracer, but now with Snillo stepping in, we got to see that Soldier 76 time and again on Oasis when we were at City Center. And then, once again, on Numbani, his positioning was just perfect.
Yeah, it's been a clinic for Sweden here, but IDDQD, thank you so much for your insight as well. Looking forward to hearing from you more as well. But we did have an opportunity to catch up with Team Sweden, get their thoughts going into the 2017 Overwatch World Cup here at BlizzCon. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Vic is one of the strongest superstar players in the entirety of the Overwatch World Cup and has been the hero for Sweden, consistently giving them good plays to get them over the top.
The defenders in this situation, even as Vic winning that one-on-one battle. Vic has been on fire here today.
It's a vindication for the Swedes.
What can I do now to improve our next fight? What can I do now to win this fight? Like, it's always like a constant thinking, a constant adaptation.
You combine it with the other talent on Sweden, and that's definitely going to be one of the top teams.
Swoosh is the dream breaker. The blade to the back line will seal it. Sweden wins the series.
Watching the first few BlizzCons, it's like there's a place where you can gather up, like all the nerds together. That's great. I want to go there, you know? And this is my chance to go there. It's like a big dream for me, one of the biggest dreams for sure, to go to BlizzCon.
That's not good though. It's Vic again, always a menace.
A storm is coming. Sweden is here for this fight.
There's going to be a lot of eyes on you. There's going to be a lot of people watching your games. With this roster, we can go far. And of course, I want to win it all. It's once in a lifetime chance to prove yourself or as a team what you've got, you know?
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
And we're back with the Overwatch World Cup 2017. The United Kingdom undefeated through the group stage. Now down 2 maps and facing elimination against a newly revved up and revived Swedish team. Hex, what's been going on?
Revived being the key word here, because yes, United Kingdom has been trying to go back to their old ways, but playing Mercy right now is not so much a choice. If you just look at Numbani, Chips didn't even play Mercy the entire time, and he resurrected 7 people. That's an entire team.
That is an entire team plus one. But now we roll into Volskaya Industries. Will the United Kingdom find a way through here, or will they freeze in the cold? That is what we are going to find out, where we know this team is adaptable, Hex. The question was always, did they have enough time to bring this back? And now they're down to their final life.
Absolutely. I think you have to run Mercy here, at least on the last defense, but this is a map that has been dominated not only cinematically, but gameplay-wise by Sombra. And it does seem that early on, we'll definitely see a Sombra on first point, maybe even continuing to second. So the support combinations are going to be a little bit different than what we're used to seeing.
Well, the interesting thing here for me is how Sweden is going back to the old here, where a Mercy can also be very powerful in beginning on an assault point map, where Resurrection sort of negate the downside of a defense having to run so far back, but that's how highly that Sweden is valuing the Sombra right now, where they're putting chips on it and not putting him on Mercy, which he was excellent on in maps 1 and 2.
It'd be an interesting combination to see a Mercy Sombra, but I think this is the right thing to run, at least on first point. Now, the big question is, when you're running a defensive Sombra like this, can you get the resurrection off on first fight, or are you just building res on first point to save for last push? So it's a very delicate balance of when to use the EMP for Sombra.
Well, for Sweden, the test will be this first push, where if you run a Sombra, you're a little bit weaker here on the very first fight. The United Kingdom taking their time. You see Mikey flanking around the side right now, looking for any weak targets. We really see Sweden just really disengaging towards the back. Tvik very far back, Swoosh a little bit far forward, but Sweden wants to make the United Kingdom commit into them here, Hex. And now, Christopher gonna lead the way in.
Well, lead the way in, lead the way out. He will be resurrected very likely of his team, but they might be camping up there. What Mikey was doing over there was sitting by the big pack. You want to be able to take over that pack room when you're playing against a Sombra. Reels and Boombox out of the fight from Tvik, but will it matter?
We'll see. It very well could matter. The United Kingdom is getting some good kills here to try and pull this back. They do have a respawn advantage, and Mikey is putting them on the back right now. Has gotten 2 quick kills under pressure by Lucio of all people, but now going back over, and yet Zebosai was able to apply enough pressure to save his own life there.
All of Sweden still up, and that critical EMP has charged. That's going to make sure that no one can use abilities or ultimates, so it's a really nice way to be able to focus and shut down a Mercy player. Reels has to be very mindful of his positioning on the next push.
Well, now we've entered the danger zone here. Hex and Kenny Loggins, he's not here. The EMP is out from Chips, and they just dive right in. Sweden goes, we got EMP, this is good, everything is fine. A clean sweep that just crushes the United Kingdom.
Well, you saw Chips's POV right there, and all he's looking at is to delete Boombox. Of course, EMP will strip off the Zenyatta shields, making it very easy, and who would know that better than a fellow support like Chips? A little bit of action there. Anyone else who got caught in the EMP was just incidental, but Sweden will use that to completely clean up. They're still sitting on a tack visor and a barrier too, so Sweden's defense still in a great position.
They're in a great position, but now this is the United Kingdom's window. The key here for Reels is going to be the not be on the business end of the tack visor. Going to open up here at the Valkyrie, taking to the skies, Cruz under pressure, but getting healed up. Mercy's heal chains in this mode. Snillo out of the fight already, and now here comes Tvik. The tack visor is up, but his team has just been dying all around him, and though he's able to get Cruz, he's not able to shut down Reels.
Mikey is still trying to put this team on his back. They will be Cruz back to life, maybe a little bit out of position up top, but he dashes through a couple. Those are the kills that the United Kingdom needed. They will finally be taking first point. A little bit of tickling there late from the Winston, but that's going to be it. United Kingdom will grab first point. We'll see if any compositional switches come in. We do see a Sombra and a Mercy, but it's going to be Chips still on the Sombra. I don't think he switched because you have 80% here.
We'll see if he ends up going to Mercy after, because Chips definitely has way more experience on the Mercy than Zebosai does. This is sort of an emergency flex coming in here from Sweden, but oh my goodness, the headshot shurikens from Cruz leading the way. United Kingdom applying pressure, and they still have Transcendence Dragon Blade if they want to make this happen. Valkyrie or no Valkyrie.
An individual hack comes on Cruz, slows down a little bit, and he just gets right in there with Christopher, takes down Zebosai.
Zebo down immediately, and yet Sweden striking right back, and even though UK is running Mercy, you don't have enough reses to deal with that here. Still, there's a little bit of back and forth. They're going to bring Christopher back to the fight, and this is scrappy, Hex. They're going for it. They're staying in it, even down players. And look at Boombox defending himself in the back.
Defending himself forward. Oh, beautiful headshot onto Vic, whose deflect had just run out. Nice support there from his fellow support as they try to come in. However, losing both supports on the side of United Kingdom should spell the end of this push. Maybe they get in there and contest for a third. They will not. United Kingdom has to reset, and they have 0 progress on last point. Volskaya.
Swoosh got some very necessary revenge there towards the very end. That could have gone badly for Sweden, but now, as we look forward, Chips and Zebo still on their respective heroes. We haven't seen Chips swap to the Mercy here just yet because the ult economy makes it difficult. This is actually a very good push coming up for the United Kingdom, Hex.
They've got a lot to work with. A lot of it is going to be on the blade. Yes, the support ults are game-winning fights, but you still have to do the damage. DPS is going to matter a lot here. Mikey and Cruz on those dive ultimates. They pop Valkyrie on the outside here, still pressuring Boombox as Snillo gets to the backline. That is huge. Forces a res.
Brings the res up early on and also delays the momentum. United Kingdom, they were ready to go in. They had to delay their entry, and the Roadhog shuts down Cruz immediately. He's going to be brought back up, though. Has the blade. It's not over yet, but Sweden has just been poking and prying the UK and just wearing them down over time. And Cruz hooked in again. Manitin says no to your Genji.
Well, both Reses used up on the side of UK, and Zebo just now pops his Valkyrie. He can bring people back to life. He can bring back Chips, who's now just respawning. Chips also has his EMP ready, should they so need it, but taking down Reels, taking down Boombox. Again, when you take down 2 supports, those fights are over. United Kingdom may have to reset, and again, 0 permanent progress.
Hex, you brought this up earlier, and you couldn't have been more right. The idea that Cruz is not really comfortable dealing with this new Hog world that we've been seeing, where Manitin can run the Roadhog now in this situation, and he shut down Cruz not once, but twice. He wanted to bring out the blade both times.
Yeah, very difficult. Cruz is going to have it, but now he has nothing to really use it with. You want to combo your Dragon Blade with a Sound Barrier or some sort of form of support. They're going to get aggro here as the EMP comes out in the back line. And I always said EMP should just straight up kill a Zenyatta. Why make him wait for that extra 50 points of damage?
Well, to suffer, clearly. The best defense sometimes is a good offense. The Sweden goes, we don't need to hold back here. We're just going to roll into you with this EMP. And the results are brutal. United Kingdom now down to their final 2 minutes here, Hex, and it just feels like we've been stuck in limbo for a while as Sweden's defense has been an iron wall.
At 2 minutes is the time that you look at your composition and say, if we're going to switch something, we switch it now, because we want to be able to get ultimates online for the heroes that do switch. Cruz is off of the Genji, onto the Soldier 76, perhaps just tired of getting hooked, tired of diving in.
Well, definitely tired of getting hooked. I think that is a safe bet. The United Kingdom still looking for a good way in. They're definitely giving a little bit more respect to Manitin right now, but it's also delaying their entry as EMP goes off here early on, and yet United Kingdom dealing with it somewhat better in the game, but it's not going to be enough. They're still taken down brutally, and those specs got a few decent counter picks there. They're going to have to reset, and now they're down to their final minute 30.
One of the reasons you see Sombra so much on assault maps is because your assault push on the last has to be nearly flawless. The defender's advantage is very high, and it's very rare that you'll see a professional team run a Sombra and not get at least 1 or 2 kills from it. And when that happens to an offense pushing in, you simply don't have the manpower to continue to attempt to push last.
And now we look at Manitin, the one who has been the rock for the Swedish defense here on point B the entire time. Looking for the early hook. Definitely tries to punish Christopher early in these fights, but now holding back a little bit, and you see him looking at tanks early on. Laying the fire in the smacks, looking for a little bit more, and over the top, Boombox out of the fight immediately. Is brought back up, Chips is down, and in fact, this is a big opportunity for the UK. They gotta be all in here, Hex.
They could res them up. Zebosai's got Valkyrie up. He's just waiting a moment to find the targets he wants. He brings back Snillo and Chips, and Snillo rewards him for his second life, takes down Boombox, and yet again, Boombox is the primary target out of the fight early.
And it was Tvik, just came in off the flank, used the Dragon Blade, and shut down what could have been a promising push.
Oh, they're gonna stall. Stagger.
This is good. This is really good. They're delaying the Mercy as long as possible. So long as they're able to finish her off, this is big. Reel's just like, please, someone help. I need out of this situation. No! Taken down. You can't res yourself, and they're not going to have a Mercy for what should be the final push.
They're going to have to go in with 5, and it's going to be 5 with only the healing of Boombox, who is now onto the Lucio, knowing that he needs the full AoE healing to keep his team alive. Without that Mercy, desperation times, EP.
Well, desperation is the name of the game. The EP is up. Chips is just getting booped and bopped around, says, you're not even worth my EP, Christopher. I'm just going to sit here and fight this out. 3 quick kills from Sweden, and all over but the crying here, Hex, for this attack. Sweden will hold on point B. Not a tick was given in that defense.
No ticks were given this day on last point Volskaya defense. Now it's a very big ask for United Kingdom. They have to full hold defense on first if they want to continue on in the Overwatch World Cup.
It's a tough road indeed. Of course, they could draw down and we would go to a map number 4, but still, that is a tough road because defending on point A for quite a while is difficult, to say the least. And then even if they did, the threshold for defending point B would be such that it actually affects how you defend there because you have to keep people on the point at all times. You can't play a little bit fast and loose with a more aggro defense because you don't have the buffer zone to work with.
We've talked about a lot of the players on Sweden, and I want to give everyone else some credit now too, because we all know how good Chips is. One of the best players in the world, always has been. We talk about Tvik. We talk about Snillo even, and how he's been a young gun coming up and playing well after he settled his nerves. But let's take a look at Swoosh finishing kills when the dives came in on the Winston. It's so important. He was almost never dead. Manitin hitting those hooks and making Cruz off of his most comfortable hero. And then Zebo, when he had to flex to Mercy, Mercy was patient with his resurrections. There were so many times where maybe Chips dies early, but let's see who else dies, because Chips coming up as a damage dealer on Sombra, not that important, but we need Snillo back. We need Tvik back. So he was very smart in how he used his resurrections during Valkyrie.
I think that United Kingdom's best chance was in the very beginning, where Zebo sort of had to reacclimate himself to the Mercy lifestyle, got picked off early, but they weren't able to get that fight in their favor. Sweden was able to pull it back off the flank. And now the United Kingdom, facing elimination, their defense here must be stronger than anything we've seen before in this series.
They're gonna have to change something up. They do have Reels on the Mercy. They're not gonna run a Sombra defense of their own. So we'll see what works out for them. Cruz is going to stay off of that Genji, and why wouldn't he? Soldier 76 is great on this map anyway. You can dominate a high ground with him.
And that's what we'll probably see from Sweden here, where Tvik, he's been clutching on the Soldier all series long. They're going to stroll up the left here, look to make some room, and give Tvik that high ground, which can be so, so good.
They're just both teams are going to face off against each other. And of course, you expect that. You expect to eat a bunch of volleys, but Cruz takes down his other number on the other side. So now, small advantage in favor of UK.
Sweden, they're going deeper, man. It says, look, just put me in hook range. Let's go. I got Cruz's number. I don't care if he's on Genji. He's on Soldier now. Fine. Goes for the hook. Almost gets it. Boombox out of the fight. The res has been used. And now Sweden off of this hog play, dominating space on the point.
I feel like Tvik has some sort of secret heat-seeking Helix upgrade, because he got another one across the map onto Boombox to open that fight. There goes Boombox for his second death in Manitin, and Mercy just gonna try to make them kill her. There it is, finally, mercifully put down.
I like it. The pistol there, I mean, you kind of have to kill her at that point. You don't want to give her too much free ult charge, but she's going to be out of this to begin with. That's why Sweden coming in with great haste, moving right onto the point. They want to end this immediately. They only need one tick. Christopher, almost down, is down. This is huge for Team Sweden, moving in for what would be the series victory.
They had to use the res. Chips is in Valkyrie mode too. He's going to be able to bring anyone back to life. They have to fight this. They only need a third. There's the tactical visor to close it out from Tvik. Sweden sweeps UK.
The United Kingdom from undefeated in the group stages to simply defeated in the quarterfinals. But give it up for Sweden. Sweden came out here very strong. They look like a different team compared to what we've seen in the past.
They just look so calm. They never overreacted to anything. The worst they looked was in the very opening fight of the very opening map. They got it together. Everyone calmed down. I think a lot of it has to do with the veteran presence of a player like Tvik. I think he can carry this team far.
Well, it's certainly been a good day for Tvik, and to break it down, we're going to take a quick break. After that, the desk will be joining us once more.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Welcome back, everyone, to the desk here as we begin to break down this matchup with Sweden coming out on top 3-0, just dominating the United Kingdom. I feel bad for my colleague Bren, who's out here, our fellow co-caster. He said he was going to rock the Union Jack just, you know, on his face. He was going to come with the flag on his back. He looked like Captain Britain, and unfortunately they had to cut his wings here today. Sweden will move on in dominating fashion. I mean, this team looks really strong for the remainder of this tournament, Monty.
I think this is one of those scenarios where most people expected the winner of this quarterfinals to almost certainly make it to the finals. When we look at this side of the bracket and we talk about Canada, Australia, those are considered perhaps the two of the weaker teams in this tournament. So now Sweden is really like a big favorite to go all the way into that final match, especially with the improvements on their performance that we saw from their group stage here into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Adding on like to that core four of the Misfits roster, someone like Chips Hyen, who does have just a wealth of experience and also just is a deadly just flex support.
Yeah.
It just completely compounds upon the fact that Sweden, they're super strong.
Yeah, when you bring in Chips, who, by the way, player for Dallas Fuel, in case you guys want to keep a tally here, a lot of Overwatch League players in this one, but Chips Hyen is one of the guys who's been around since, a lot of them have been here since the beginning, but Chips has had success so much in his career, and it's because of that stellar support play, but also we got to see the Sombra brought out on Volskaya, and I think this was in the Australia stop, when they had said, we have full confidence in Chips on Sombra because they know that he can bring the pain.
Well, and Sombra is a necessary part of defenses on Volskaya. You can choose not to run it on point A, but it is pretty mandatory on point B just because the health pack control gives you so much additional healing, and because of the wide open nature of that point makes it very easy to get EMPs. So it is the easiest hero in Overwatch to defend Volskaya with, particularly the second point.
Yeah, also it's just with the theory crafting on point B, it's very difficult to try and have that Mercy as your solo healer and try to rely upon those health packs, but we got to see how the EMPs, especially against the dive, is just huge. You shut down the mobility and they're not able to, if they get a kill, reset and move on to the next target, and so they're just stuck there, not able to move at all, and that is one of the biggest strengths of Sombra.
Yeah, it was very, very apparent that Sweden had a game plan here, unlike their opponents on the other side of the stage. It felt like they came out, UK came out with something, they had an idea, and then Oasis happened, and then they were just like, screw that. I'm just gonna do whatever. Like, let's just go back to what worked in Santa Monica, right, Monty?
Well, they had that synergy already with that specific playstyle, with that specific composition, and because we know they've had less time to prepare for this match than Team Sweden has, it makes sense that they would, if they felt uncomfortable, revert to that playstyle. Unfortunately, not enough. Sweden was definitely going to be expecting something like that, and we saw them shift their positioning and shift their tactics as a result.
Speaking of, James, you do have a highlight that you want to break down here. Why don't you just go ahead and throw it into it?
So yeah, if we get into the replay from Volskaya, it was on point A. As you can see, in the white, it is going to be UK, and then in the blue, it's going to be Sweden. This is UK's initial attack, and they're making that roundabout approach where they try and take control of the health pack room on the left-hand side. Already, though, Tvik and Zebasai are on the right to contest for the high ground here. Now, what you're going to see is that Christopher is going to try and dislodge Zebasai and Tvik from the high ground, and as soon as he does that, we have Manitin and Swoosh coming in. So if we roll this replay going, we'll see that Christopher will notice Zebasai and Tvik, they are challenging Cruz, making sure that he can't get in on the Genji. So Christopher jumps in first, but Mikey A and Cruz are not there, and instantly you see Manitin and Swoosh jump on top of Christopher and take him out instantly. Now, the next part about this is that, well, you have to remember that Mercy is in play, and there are some points where you just cannot go for a res, and this is one of them, where both tanks, they have both of their mobility skills to get back up onto the point. So if we continue to roll this, we'll see that Manitin, as soon as he sees Realzix coming in for that res, he's going to go ahead and barrel straight for him. The boosters come out, and he gets right on top of him, and it's going to be Tvik that finishes him off.
And that's how you have to play it. In this particular meta, it's very important to get those Mercy kills or to bait the Mercy in so that she's not going to get additional resurrections, or to punish the resurrections that she does get so that you can keep a man advantage, you know, a 6v5 advantage or a 5v4 advantage or whatever you have on that particular point or on that particular play.
I'm just going to be very honest with both of you. That was like the coolest thing that I've seen casting Overwatch, just that highlight right there, because you literally saw it play out overhead like that. That was just actually really cool.
I mean, it's great to be able to show the positioning of these teams, because I think a lot of newer fans don't understand that where everybody is standing on the map is a plan that these professional teams have. They have set plays, they're putting themselves on high ground, and they know how to react to these kind of dives that come up on the high ground, and they are ready to do it in an instant.
All right, well, guys, I mean, thank you once again for that incredible breakdown. But